What's your greatest fear? I know you have one. We all do. Some fears are big, some are small, and some are just downright strange. Like arachibutyrophobia, which is the fear of peanut butter being stuck to the roof of one's mouth. My fear, however, wasn't anything out of the ordinary. I just had a fear of heights. I'm 6'1", and this is how high off the ground I want to remain. But this is the story of the time when I truly conquered my fear of heights. It was summer 2012. It was the summer that I had graduated from elementary school. And every summer for the last 8 years, I had attended this camp in Muskoka called Camp Uchigayas. Now, this camp was my favorite place to go. Secluded deep within the Muskokan woods, this place had everything from kayaking to rock climbing to water skiing to the beautiful scenery. So one fine afternoon, we were scheduled to go rock climbing, but we were informed that they'd added a new addition called the swing. We had the choice of rock climbing or trying out the swing. I personally was indifferent because regardless, both sounded like a painful experience. But I told myself, today's the day I conquer my fear. And as we walked towards the swing, I started to feel like I'd made a mistake. We had finally reached the swing, and my heart dropped. What it was a platform placed on the edge of a cliff, and on this platform was two sets of swings. Now, swing is a generous word here, more like a couple of straps for your thighs and a belay it's attached to. So the idea is that you sit on these straps and you get hoisted up, and while you are suspended in air, you pull on one of the strings, which releases a mechanism that swings you over the cliff. So my buddy Paul, he turns to me and he says, "Bro, you and I are getting on this first." Now, one thing you should know about Paul, he's a thrill seeker. Next thing I know, I'm attached to this death trap with Paul, and we're being hoisted up. Now, you're supposed to tell the people hoisting you up when to stop, but for some reason, I couldn't get the words out of my mouth. So there I was, slowly escalating into the sky, well above the treetops. Finally, we stopped climbing. We had reached the max height. Just me and Paul. Two lonely figures swaying above the trees. Somehow, through all this madness, the scene was beautiful. High above the trees, you could see the expanse of the forest. I could see my friends on the ground who looked like small specks, and I could see the bottom of the cliff, which really didn't help my mood. It so happened that the way I was positioned, I was the one closest to this mechanism that I needed to pull, which would propel us over this cliff. So I look over to Paul and I say, "See you on the other side, buddy." I close my eyes and I pull the string. I waited for the lurch, the wind to rush through my face, the feeling of free fall. But there was nothing. I opened my eyes. Paul and I were still swaying in the sky. I yelled down at the hoisters, "Hey, this thing's not working!" And they shouted back at me, "Pull the string!" I am pulling the string, and I gave it one hard yank. "See, it's not working!" The mechanism finally released. My face rapidly grew closer to the ground, and the next thing I knew, I was swinging across the cliff, feeling like my feet were going to touch the treetops on the other side. Boy, I was screaming. But it wasn't a scared scream. I was having fun. I whooped and I hollered all the way until the swing finally lost its momentum. As we were lowered to the ground, I looked at Paul and I said, "Dude, we have to do that again." And from that day on, I was never, ever afraid of heights.